Alright, 10.6 is law of cosines. If you do not have this worksheet, please pause the video and get one. Alright, so remember in 10.1 to 10.5 we've been dealing with right triangles. Well, in 10.6, the law of cosines, you use it when you don't have a right triangle, but you are given side, angle, side, or all three sides. That's when you can use this formula. The formula is c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of c. The little a, b, and c, the little letters, represent sides, and the big are your angles. So the biggest thing, that it doesn't matter what it's called, A, B, or C, the biggest thing is just to know that the angle and across from the angle, those are your big C, angle C, and your side C. And they have to be on the opposite sides of your equation. Alright, so let's use it. This says, find x in the given triangle. Alright, so I'm going to move this up a little bit. So it says that we're given a side, an angle, and a side. So since we're given side, angle, side, we can use law of cosines. It's really important to know why you can use law of cosines, because next section, tomorrow, we will learn law of sines, and you have to know the difference between the two. So when you're given a side, an angle, and a side, you can use the law of cosines. So that says that we have to find the angle that we're using. So we're going to be using this one. So across from that is the side that's going to be on the outside. So that's my x. So I have x squared is equal to, now it says to square the sides and add them together. So I'm going to go 510 squared. And what's the other side? 720 is right, and I'm going to square that, minus 2, and it says to multiply the two sides together. So, sorry about that. So I'm going to multiply 2 times a and b. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 510 and 720. And then we have cosine of our angle, which is 84.5. Alright, so now because this is all on one side, you can throw this into your calculator. One thing to make sure you know is this is all being multiplied together. So I'm going to take in my calculator and go clear that out. Move that up a little bit. My calculator, I'm going to go 510 squared plus 720 squared minus 2 times 510 times 720 times cosine of 84.5. And I get, so x squared is equal to 708,110.88. Then how do I solve for x? Yes, just take the square root. So I'm going to take the square root. So I take the square root of my answer, and x is equal to 841.5. And that's the side, so whatever that would be that measurement. Alright. Example 2. Find the measure of the smallest angle in the right triangle, or in the triangle, sorry, not right triangle because it's not right, the triangle with sides. So we're going to go here, and my sides are 8, 10, and 12. Now it doesn't matter what we call them, but let's try to figure out what the smallest one would be. The smallest one would be the one that's the smallest across from the smallest side. So this is going to be my x that we're going to solve for. So for your formula, we might as well call this C and call this little c, and then those will be A and B. So that means that this is our A, and that's A, and this will be our B up here, big B, so this is our little b. So we have, because this, remember, since we're solving for this one, this has to be on the outside. So 8 squared is equal to the other two sides squared and added together. So 10 squared plus 12 squared minus, what's the next thing? 2 times the two sides multiplied together, so 10 times 12 cosine C. Alright. So now that you have that, what we have to do is we need to get this by itself. But see how this is all multiplied by it? This has to be the last thing. So make sure that you get all of this to the other side, and then we can clean this side up. So let's clean this up a little bit. So I have, just to show you, I'm going to go 8 squared, which is 64, is equal to 100 plus 144 minus 2 times 10 times 12 gives me 240 cosine C. I can add these two together, so I get 64 is equal to 244 minus 240 cosine of C. Now this is multiplied together, so you still cannot do anything to that yet. That's going to be your last thing, because multiplication is the last order of operation when we're solving. So the first thing we have to do is get this to the other side. So we're going to subtract 244 from both sides. So I have 64 minus 244 gives me a negative 180 is equal to a negative 240 cosine C. Then what do I have to do? Since this is multiplying, we divide. So I'm going to divide by negative 240. So I have negative 180 divided by a negative 240 gives me a 0.75 is equal to cosine C. Remember that anytime you get to this point, the cosine C should be it should be less than 1, right? So I'm gonna move that up so that we can so since this is less than 1, we know we're doing it right. So now how do you solve for C? Yeah, you take the inverse cosine inverse of both sides. So then you plug that into your calculator. So I have cosine inverse of 0.75. So C is 41 degrees. Alright, now your homework today is going to be bookwork, and a few of them are a little bit challenging. You'll have to read it carefully and really try hard to draw a picture and then try to figure out what they're asking you to do. Alright, so your homework assignment is, and remember, work on it in class, 10.6, which is found on page 572. You're going to do numbers 1 through 22. Make sure you're checking your odds as you go. If you get done with this, work on your worksheet 10.1, 10.5, the one that you got last week. If I have time, I am going to try to still videotape the other, but right now I'm not going to be able to do that. So maybe later on I can do that. So alrighty, I will see you guys tomorrow, and good luck.